As we draw closer to the release of Edge of Eternities, the question starts being asked more and more, is there enough inside this set to justify buying sealed product? Is there enough big banger cards out there to make this worth the gamble to try to hit some of them? In today's video, we're going to take a look at a few of these cards and have that conversation. Stay tuned, you're not going to want to miss out. By now, most players have already decided. They know if they are buying a collector box, a play booster box, staying away, picking up singles, but that doesn't mean it's not a conversation to still have about whether or not Wizards of the Coast has packed in enough goodies into this set to make it worth taking a chance. Welcome back everyone, MTG Moxman here, and thank you again for hanging out with me today for another video. Now, let's face it guys, booster boxes have never been more expensive. From a guy who grew up in the 90s playing the game at the beginning, and you get Fallen Empires boxes for, $40 back in the day, a Mirage box for $100. I mean, even up until 2015, you could still find boxes for $99 Canadian, which means they're like $79 US. But with a collector box of Edge of Eternities already over $400, and that's because of how Wizards of the Coast is controlling the market and making a truly collectible kind of sought after item. And then we've got the play booster boxes, which again, don't forget, only 30 packs now. Those things are $130, and if it's any indicator from previous sets, they're all going to run out. They'll get sold out, they go into a queue. This one and done thing does seem to be something we witnessed back in 2009, 2010. It definitely seems to be making a comeback in today's new era of Magic as Wizards tightens controls, keeps cards higher in price, and keeps the market flowing in an upward trajectory. Whether you like it or not, that's where we're padding the results. So what does that mean for you, the player? Is it worth taking a risk on an Edge box? Are you gonna go and say, you know what, I want a collector box, I want a play booster box? Well, they do have some good goodies. All the alternate artwork, some of the great new reprints of cards coming into the set, and what the set actually offers players. Well, the pre-order pricing is going to be high. I'm still going to show it to you. But even as these prices are adjusted, some of these cards are likely going to be a lot more expensive than players realize. So let's take a look at a few of these cards today, and I can't wait to see your comments in the comment section. Now, the first card that I want to share with you today is Ancient Tomb. Now, don't forget this card here taps for 2 colorless. This land deals 2 damage to you. It's an iconic piece of Magic history. And, when we look at cards like this, Wizards of the Coast does have a propensity to reprint these quite often, but they keep them at very high rarity. So this is not going to be in every box. It's going to be hard to find, even though we haven't seen box opening videos and we haven't had the opening day yet to see how many are going to be found. This is not going to be an everyday occurrence. So you have to realize that even though the value of this may be dragged down a bit on other versions of the card, including Lord of the Rings, Balin's Tomb. Balin? Great artwork on that one, the tomb thing. If that card goes cheap there a little bit, there'll be a lot of players really striking at the Lord of the Rings version. Now, I love the artwork on this one, like an Eldrazi trapped in the middle of a decaying world. It looks very cool, okay? I like the whole motif behind it, and people are going to love it too. They're going to want to get their hands on it. They're going to hope it drops somewhere into the 80s, and they're going to try to grab this thing up. But it really will depend on how hard they made the track printing, and like I just said, they've made it difficult in the past, so don't expect this to be in every single box. It's going to be rare. Now, our next one here, Mana Confluence. Again, another card going way back to the days of, what is that, Theros? I think it's Theros this one came out. Pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Of course, this is like City of Brass and the cards of that type. This has an Earth-like look to it, like the whole world's on fire. I love the look of the card. I like the idea of it. And these cards like 25, 30 bucks, 40 bucks on the high end, right? Maybe 45 if we're pushing things Canadian. You guys will let me know in the comment section, but this will be a card players are happy to find. It'll have a home in many decks. It's going to be a nice bling piece, and it's going to be good trade-in value for players who want to move around product to get cards they're after. So this one here is kind of like, it's money on the go. You know it's worth something. You know you're going to have trade-in value, so a lot of players will be looking to use that in the future. Now, our next card here is going to be the Void Altar. Now, I'm not going to try to pronounce the first 2 words. You guys know how bad that's going to end for me, but I'm looking at this planet, and it comes into play tapped, adds 1 black. Now, these ones will be rarer, only in the sense, like, after this set rotates out, don't expect a reprint of these. If you can get them cheap, I do recommend picking these up. Right now, they're like 40, 50, and 60 bucks. Now, this one here with the Station 12, pay 2 life, sacrifice a creature and draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power, activate as a sorcery, is not really a drawback. Okay, this thing is going to be brutal. It's going to be amazing, and I do recommend, if you get a chance, to get your hands on these new lands. Station will be an effect that's going to be a little bit detrimental to getting this card to work for you, but there's so many ways of busting these things out, or even having it come into play. I don't know, wait, can you drop a Dreadnought on that thing? Can you use a Phyrexian Dreadnought? I don't know. You guys will tell me in the comment section. Like, there's got to be ways of ramping out quick enough that you can make it work for you. So, an amazing effect. I think a lot of players are going to dive in on it. Now, our next one here is going to be Tezzeret. Now, this card's 60, 70 bucks in this version. The alternate version is like 100. This one here is going to be a little bit different. Planeswalkers traditionally do not hold very high value. Yes, right now it has a high value. I can see it being a $30, $40 card. But the way Wizards of the Coast has done it the last, several years, they've really driven down the price of Planeswalkers. But Tezzeret will be different in the sense he is colorless. He will fit into many different decks. He is going to have a home in the future. Picture things like Ugin that fit into multiple playsets and decks, and this is where Tezzeret is going to find a home. I can't imagine printing a low casting cost, colorless Planeswalker that can do some funky stuff. Means I think the value on this, I think it'll drop, but I think a lot of players are going to realize that, wait for the bell to toll before it strikes midnight. They'll try to grab some copies of this one, because this one I think will rebound later on. And let's go on to our next one, and that is going to be Eutharos, the Titanic God Core. And by the way, I love this artwork, and yes, I'm going to get copies of this card myself. I'm going to be straight up with that. I think this is a card for my channel I want to hold on to, because it is a Tolarian Academy lookalike, and yeah, it has Station 12, but being able to tap for multiple artifacts in Commander is something as a casual format you can't ignore. I can also see actually using this in some other decks for fun, just to see if I can make it work in Standard. So for a card like that, it's not going to stay at 50 bucks. I would not buy this at high of a value, but it's still right now a key piece that people are looking for, and I can understand why they're looking for it. So you as a player will decide, is that the value worth it, but is that enough to justify the box? How many of these are going to be there? How many mythics are getting inside of a play booster box versus the collector box? Which variants are going to appear? Don't forget, there's different artworks of different rarity. So some of these cards could be found in multiple boxes. So opening 2 of these, one at 50 and one at 100 right away, can actually pay for 1/4 of your box right off the bat. And when you look at other cards I've already shared with you, well, you can see there might be more value there than people realize. Now, if we jumped over again and look at Evendo, the Waking Haven, again, this is the Gaia's Cradle lookalike. Love the artwork again. It reminds me of being like a Disney movie back in the day. I can look at this one and say, same deal. It's something you should pay attention to. It's going to be used. You think this won't find a home inside some elf tribal deck or some squirrel nightmare coming to live with you? Like, I can just picture this thing finding a home in so many different ways that this value of this card will dip down, but 25, 30 bucks, couple in a box possibly, depending on, I mean, not just this one, but different versions, you can see there might be more value than people realize, even if the prices decrease. It looks like Wizards packed in quite a bit of stuff. Now, the last one I want to share with you guys is the Exalted Sunborn. 5 casting cost, 4/5 flying lifelink, Angel Wizard. Nice that they add the wizard there as well, a little subtext there. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many are created. Obviously, this is meant to be used in Standard with the Warp ability. Okay, using Warp and using different Elspeth versions to just get token generation armies going makes perfect sense, and it's a low casting cost, which can fit into multiple deck ideas. So this one makes a lot of sense to me, being a $35, $40 card Canadian, 25 bucks US, maybe $20 US. This one will drop as well. Okay, it may go down to about the $15 mark, but on the other hand, if Elspeth takes a real turn and people find a kind of deck that this works in right away with its Warp ability, I can see this thing jumping up to $75. So it's a card like that that doesn't really have its face known yet, but people are looking at cards like this. They are paying attention. And when you add all these $50 and $60 cards together, well, it's always better to understand that market before giving in and saying it's just not worth it. The initial days of box openings will see a lot of cards changing hands. A lot of money swiping left and swiping right depending on the single cards that players are after. Then more cards will be recognized, some uncommon, some rare, some homes will be found. And because the initial wave of a standard box set like this will come and go, chances are we're going to run out, the market will stabilize, and some of these prices are more likely to recover in the future. That doesn't mean it's worth buying the collector box. A play booster box, depending on how they've done the mythic rarity, I think you may be able to get some value out of that. And in terms of looking at a collector box for $400 US, the initial days, you'll probably be able to crack a lot of value out of that box. I think based on the mythics we've seen, we're going to get a lot of value out of the first initial boxes we see. And then as the market decides and reprices these cards, that's when players will start to lose. Okay, if you get in and get out really quickly, the speculators and the people like the stores who flip the cards really quick, they're the ones who come out ahead. Players who want to get these and buy early are going to be the biggest losers in this debate of the value of a box to buy it or not to buy it. But time has shown that if you hold on to some of these cards, there's always these reversals later on down the road that some of these cards flip back up to insane prices. And other cards, like Yavimaya Cradle of Growth, even though it should be an amazing card, have never come back around because they've never completed the cycle of that mana base. And Wizards can leave you hanging with stuff like that. Pay attention to cards like Tezzeret. Look at some of the land cards because they're always, the mana base is usually the most important thing in a Magic set. I've always told you guys that, and I still think about it now. But when I see the boxes at $400 plus, it does make you wonder, is it worth cracking a box? But you know what? I want to hear what you guys think. Because I look at it and say, cracking one box for fun and maybe getting some value out of it is totally possible. But the law of averages say if a store is cracking 15, 20 boxes, they're probably going to come out ahead. They're probably going to get enough juice in this one to really be worth the squeeze. But a person buying an average, just buying a single collector box, they may lose, they may win. That'll be completely random just based on the single box. Thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here today. And of course, drop those comments in the comment section. Tell me, do you think it's worth it? Or do you think, no way, I'm going with singles? Or are you just skipping this space set entirely? I gotta know. Thanks again for hanging out. I will see you guys tomorrow with another video. Hey, here we are at the end of the video. Let's not forget the patrons, the YouTube membership members of this channel. Without that continued support, well, daily uploaded videos would not be happening the way they are right now. So thanks again to all those members of the channel for supporting Team Moxman. Yes, we are getting closer and closer to that big 50K party, and there will still be a small party at 30K, and that's right around the corner. Stay tuned for more information as we get closer to that number. I gotta be honest, welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. You've made it once again to the end of the video. I like this scene, by the way. It just reminds me of like a boarding party, like taking it to the crew. Love that kind of stuff. The idea of like a ship-to-ship attack. What was that one movie I saw it in? It was way back in the day. Wing Commander? Like Freddie Prinze Jr. when they board the Kilrathi ships. I mean, that movie, a lot of bad stuff about it, but a lot of good stuff too. I don't know how to describe it, but it's better than it should be, comparatively speaking to how they did it at the time. But anyway, I digress. I don't edit this stuff. It's just what comes out of the mouth, man. And trust me, I could probably do a good edit job on that, but that's too late. We're not doing that. I'm never doing that. So, this set, $400 collector boxes. I think I said it all in the video. Law of averages, man. Some people will make out. There's enough big stuff in there, you're probably going to do okay. Now, that being said, the play booster boxes are much more of a dice roll. Could be big, could be small, but they're half the price. The good news is there'll be so much stuff open that the singles market gets flooded. Look at the Final Fantasy prices. They're so far down. I hope people out there are buying the cards they want. Because I'll be lining up a whole thing to buy a whole bunch for the channel. I'll be buying groups of like 10, the really low-end stuff that I think may come back, just to have some for the channel, just in case, because you never know. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here today. Have an awesome one. I'm going left, right, Cheetos. I don't know. See you soon.